Level up with Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars. Level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art. Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Hello, everybody. Look at that smile. Isn't that a beautiful smile? Very calming, very confident at the same time. I love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is my sponsorship.
Now, our first sponsor here is Susanna Dawn. She's not just a writer, she's a truth alchemist, a sought-after editor, ghostwriter, and speaker. Susanna helps heart-driven leaders, creatives, and change makers move beyond the boxes society tries to shove them into. Her work is rooted in radical authenticity, emotional clarity, and storytelling that doesn't just sound good, it feels like you. If you got a story that needs to be told, but the words are tangled, or if you tried hiding behind polished personas and crave a voice that's truly yours, well, Susanna will help you write, speak, and show up with raw and powerful, real presence. She doesn't just edit your words, she helps you reclaim your narrative. This isn't copy editing, guys. This is soul alignment. Now, let me talk to you about my brother from another Mr. Mike Asherbrenner. He is a catalyst for clarity in a world full of noise, whether he's speaking, mentoring, or guiding others through transformative conversations. Mike brings a steady mix of wisdom, grounded presence, and no-nonsense truth-telling that helps people reconnect with their purpose and rise above the chaos. He is known for his ability to see what others miss. Mike helps you cut through limiting beliefs, outdated narratives, and internal roadblocks so you can lead, live, and love from a place of deep alignment. If you're ready to break cycles, reclaim your confidence, and show up fully in every room you enter, well, Mike is the guide who will walk with you, not ahead of you. He doesn't just hype you up, he holds you up. Scan that QR code. Now let's talk about Bass Porter. He's not here to play small, and neither are you. As a global transformational speaker, mentor, and spiritual guide, Baz brings you unapologetic truth, soul level strategy, and decades of lived experience to the table. He's walked through darkness, faced down the noise of trauma and self doubt, and came out not just stronger, but unstoppable. When you work with Baz, you're not getting surface level motivation. You're stepping into a high frequency container built for radical change. He helps visionaries, leaders, and purpose driven individuals break free from fear, rewrite their inner blueprint, and embody the greatness they were born for. If you're tired of excuses, ready to shift timeliness, and done with playing with safe, Baz is your catalyst. Scan that QR code. He also offers community support, right? For a million dreams. So once you go through his transformative courses or masterclass, you're going to have that community support. Join now. Scan that QR code. What are you waiting for? Here's one of my sponsors as well, Bella Grace. What an amazing elixir. If you are wanting to do something for your inside, your body, you feel like your joint is inflamed, or you're having those aches and pains, or you're looking so ragged and fatigued all the time, this elixir is your fountain of youth. Scan that QR code and go ahead and take us for a spin for 30 days. I know I have, and I've seen such a big difference. Now, if you are looking to learn, right, to be on the boots on the ground type about social media and the power of social media and the tips and tricks that you will never find anywhere else because nobody is telling you, they're gatekeeping this information, here is a platform called Influencing You. I am there on Fridays, 10 a.m. PST. Join me for an exclusive freebies on there every Friday. Bye. See you soon. Scan that QR code. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It is that time again. Third year in a row. 50 inspirational connections. Now it's not just LinkedIn, it is in all your social media. Are you ready? Scan that QR code and go ahead and nominate yourself or nominate someone else who rocked your life, right? Somebody. This isn't just another hashtag, it's a movement. 50 inspirational connections is where authentic leadership, powerful storytelling, and global impact collide. We're shining a spotlight on the trailblazers, hope dealers, change agents, and everyday heroes who are using social media to build up communities, break the cycle, and amplify with purpose. Join this initiative. You're not just getting featured, you're aligning yourself with a legacy of visibility, credibility, and meaningful connection. Whether you're a thought leader, an entrepreneur, or quiet disruptor with a loud heart, this is your moment to be seen, to be heard, and celebrated across platforms that reach over 150 countries in 6 continents. Because influence isn't about numbers, it's about impact. And together, we're rewriting what leadership looks like online. DM me for more information. In the meantime, scan that QR code to apply.
Wow, that was a lot. A lot of information, and I love my sponsors. I only pick and choose the ones that I really truly align with, right? So today, look at that beautiful smile. Okay, I mean, what? And I really didn't know anything about Beverly. She's so humble. She doesn't really say much. And I asked her about her bio, and I got curious. And you know me and research. So I dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And yeah, I keep digging. And Beverly, I don't even think knows what I'm doing today. Honestly, I don't think she does. So I'm going to present and let's see what her reaction of what I did. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast. And thank you so much for FeedSpot for having me and featured on the top 80 higher education. Okay, FeedSpot has 40 million listeners, guys, and I'm on number 38 out of 80 on the top podcast to listen to for higher education. So I appreciate it. All right. Are you ready? Beverly's smiling around there because she doesn't know I got this. She has no idea what I'm doing for her right now. She's like, "What? Where'd you find that? Where'd you get that?" I can see her face, like literally. I tell you, I dig. That's what I do for my. I'm not one of these podcasters just like get to know you, have a coffee chat. I truly want to put my guests in that pedestal and really create something for them, because what I do is legacy and impact for everybody. And really, I switch even harder and work harder after one of my girlfriends died for mental health last year, right? And when her mom told me, "Thank you for asking that question that you did ask her for those first and last questions," because I thought I knew my daughter and I really didn't. And now she's no longer here, and I was encouraged and sad at the same time. So I continue to do even harder research on who they are, because I think in this society, we're conditioned to not say too much, not boost yourself, because that's narcissism. You can't be proud of what you do, but you just keep doing. Why? Why do we do that? Right? And if you're uncomfortable, it's okay. I got you. I will be your cheerleader. Don't you worry about that, right? But look at this smile. Amazing smile. So she was elected in November of 2024. That was last year, okay, guys? To Los Alamos County Council, serving a term through 2028. Okay, so she's a legend in my case, because some people talk about it and some people are doing it, right? This is a difference between a theory and an application. A PhD, some PhDs only theory, and a DBA, which is me. I do take the theory and I do apply the theory to see if it works. And this is what she does in our community, right? Los Alamos County is so lucky to have her. Just a smile alone, hello? Like, right? And this is her background and career, right? You see all those little things, those are the ones that are giving me all the citations. I will look for citations for make sure that the authority and the credibility of the people who wrote about something or someone is there. So she's from South Carolina. I'm going to ask her if this is true, because this is what I found online. And if any of this is untrue, you ought to tell these people who wrote about you, change this right now. I found a couple of things that they wrote about me online and it's incorrect. So I have them deleted. A couple university put my name as their teacher, and I've never taught to those university. So I told them to take my name off. I'm like, they even have my picture and everything. I'm like, I don't teach for your school. Anyway, it happens. But I'm going to verify this with Beverly. Lived and worked around the globe, Australia, New Zealand, and Costa Rica. Ooh, arriba, arriba. Before settling in New Mexico. She is obviously a veteran, guys, right? Military, U.S. Marine, certified court reporter, and an alumna of the FBI Citizens Academy. It got interesting quite a bit, huh? It got interesting quite a bit, huh? And held roles at Los Alamos National Laboratory for 15 years. Then she launched her entrepreneurial venture, NM Mobile Notary and Fingerprinting launch in 2019. So for all y'all hiding, like, I'm not giving you my fingerprint, but really can get it for you. Yeah, I know somebody couldn't get your fingerprint now. Yep, you can't get away from me now. Serve as director of African American Trust and affiliate partner with Security Equity Group. But this is what I think of this. This is my summary. I said she isn't your average local official, guys. She's a bridge between community and council, literally bridging, right? Global experience and practical know-how and entrepreneurial grit to Los Alamos. I'm telling you, they're so lucky to have her. Los Alamos people, if you're here listening, replay, whatever, you're lucky. If you're turning into local governance or civic impact, she's definitely the name worth tracking. And then here, look at that smile. She's so beautiful. I know I changed her background. I changed her background, okay? I'm like, she looks like she could be on the beach, just like moseying around in Costa Rica, right? I'm telling you, drinking that little mojito. Now, Beverly brings over 3 decades of diverse experience, including honorable service as a U.S. Marine and also work internationally as a certified court reporter, as I said. And she lives in New Mexico now. She shares life with her husband of 34 years. I don't know if that's correct either. 34 years. Okay, that's what I'm just saying. Armed with an MBA in IT security. Fingerprint IT. Do you get this? FBI citizen. Are you guys putting two and two together? I hope your brain is working right now. She's a dynamic small business owner and a licensed life, health, and Medicare insurance broker across multiple states. Yeah, it wasn't enough to be that. She also has to be this. Yeah, yeah. Empowering families to build generational wealth through strategic planning and protection. Now, she also believes that true success begins with wellness of the mind, the body, and the spirit. I would listen to Beverly. I don't listen to a lot of people, but I would listen to Beverly because her current focus is healing the four wounds that impact individuals and communities alike. Through the power of regenerative medicine, she champions an improved quality of life, supporting not only the people, but also those practitioners and systems working towards a more vibrant and health conscious future. I feel like she's going to take over the wellness industry too. That's my feeling right now. I don't know. We'll bring Beverly up before I keep talking about her, and I'm like totally wrong. All right, Beverly, are you ready? Was that a
That
surprise?
that was a surprise and quite an introduction. I will also share with you, I'm not sure what it is about your voice or if it's the content, but I just kept getting chills throughout everything that you were saying. I'm like, gee, wow, this is, and that rarely happens. So kudos to you.
People actually have been telling me that. I think it's because I research. Really, I take care of my guests. I'm not. I watch so many podcasts and I listen to so many podcasts. It's very skin deep, and because I think their mission is different than mine, right? That's all. I think that's the big difference. Is because for me, it's all about impact and legacy, and I think it's rooted based on what I didn't know about my own family. Um, I used to say, "Oh, 100 years from now, you're going to be forgotten." My grandfather died 30 years ago. I don't even know. Great grandfather died. Didn't even know anything about him. I had to read from a thesis on couple of students from university about how great my great grandfather was. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know he went to the Vatican and challenged by the popes and all this priest because he created a perpetual calendar that predicts when Jesus Christ was the exact date that he was actually on the cross. Who does that? Apparently, my great grandfather didn't know. Yeah, my grandfather, my mom, my family's very mathematical. Like everyone's just mathematical. Um, and he wrote a manuscript about Philippines and the history because he was like a right hand for the king of the Philippines at that point. And they had king and queen back then, the great greats. And he wrote a manuscript about the city, and no one published it. But I'm like, see, I told you, it's in my blood to write. Look at that. Like it was there. Like I told you, something's definitely different. And then my grandfather, whom I've met a couple times, because I was not raised by my parents, invented the pen that people use in NASA up there, and he sold the rights and everything else to Parker Pen. I didn't know about that either until my mom's like, "Yeah, the paper is here somewhere in this mess."
It's interesting how our genes and our lineage kick in. As you were talking, my husband's big in genealogy, and he's got a beautiful mind, big in math as your family. He actually designs supercomputers. He's a systems engineer, so he's got a beautiful mind. But he, again, with the genealogy thing, he kept pulling on the strings and found that when we go back, for me, I go back to Benin and Togo in Africa. But if you dig a little bit deeper, they are known for their spirituality. That is their contribution to the world. So when my mother used to often say when I was young, she said, it's always been interesting to watch you grow because I've always looked beyond the person. I've always seen something else, and I've always been very good at like being in or out. I call myself a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. I'm going to be the same way I've got girlfriends who said, oh my God, she's been like this all of her life. So I said all that to say this: when you're comfortable in your skin and you know who you are, I guarantee you're not the first one. There's someone else back there in that lineage that passed that on to you, and now you're just paying it forward.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I've always been to. I mean, literally, nuns are telling me that the devil's inside me because I grew up in a immaculate conception college. It was at elementary, and I was the only one in my family who didn't go to Chinese school. And I get in trouble because the nuns is like, you talk too much, so erasers would get thrown in my face. You ask too much questions. Like, you stop asking questions. I'm like, but why? And then she was like, see, that's my point. So I would literally be sent on the chapel at least 3 times a day and pray like 100 Our Fathers and 100 Hail Marys on my, because I was baptized Catholic and grew up Catholic. So I would be like, I'm like, how many Hail Marys and Our Fathers can I really pray right now? Like, I think my sins washed already. I do this 3 times a day. And then they're like, it's your fault. So I've always had that issue. And then only if my teacher knows, I'm still talking a lot. Like this, I don't know what to tell you. It's in my DNA. And my grandmother's like, I think when your mom was pregnant, she was looking probably for like a pig or something, like talks a lot and yaps a lot all the time. That's, because tradition with culture. I'm like, I don't know, something definitely wrong with me. I just go with it. And I think that's true. And I did this for Impact and Legacy because of that experience.
I was fortunate. I Some of my teachers, the ones who are still alive, they shared so much with me when I left high school. And I've had more than one teacher say to me, "Oh my God, Beverly, there were so many teachers who didn't like you because if they said things, I would be like, that's not right." And then I would say something, and I was very fortunate because my father, hearing that reverb, do you hear it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's my weirdness. Okay, so my father had a reputation, and they did a series in NPR a while years ago about. Um, so I'm from the South. Uh, Lots of heaviness is still there, but my father took no prisoners. My father took no junk. So, he was not one of the ones that you could control. And I learned later through NPR that for the ones that they couldn't control, they would always label them as crazy. So I grew up with that inhibition of, oh, my dad's crazy, so I need to calm down. And now I realize that that was a badge of honor. My father, I can honestly tell you, I never saw anyone disrespect my father. I never went through any crazy racism. And now that's going to push you forward to the school. I think there were many of those teachers who may have wanted to say something to me, but they knew my father would come up to that school and run them over if he needed to. So they never did. And at the same time, I also knew that I was carrying a name that had a legacy. So therefore, I wasn't going to be out there messing that up, because that again reflected on them just as well as it would reflect on me. And my father and my mom raised me that I don't care what goes on. When it comes down to it, you better tell me the truth, because I'm going to be the one that's going to be fighting for you. And I have instilled that in my sons. I'm instilling that in my grandchildren, and I'm the same way. So yeah, I was fortunate to have a father who was crazy like a fox, because he would not put up with any foolishness. And because of that, I think when people say, "Oh, did you learn to be resilient because you were a Marine?" I said, no, my father put that in me before I went. That they may have accessorized it and maybe enhanced it, but no, my father already had that there.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him crazy. I call him he was born with boundaries.
Absolutely.
That is because I think our culture, literally, we came out as a blank page. I always put ourselves like a printer, right? If you want to print something, you got to hit print. And then you're like, oh, but wait, I don't want to print that. I want to print that. It's already printed. You're going to have to change something in that document so you can print whatever you want. It's the same thing for our life. We came in as a blank page paper, white paper, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to print something within you, you got to change it so that you come out different. It's the same thing, the same process as human beings, right?
When you said that, it made me think about somebody else my dad used to say, because again, he was a push-up. He would say, if it didn't kill them, it ain't gonna kill you. Now he probably could have said a little bit nicer, but he said to say, you can do anything you want.
That's right. That's right. Now, This is my first question. Think back 20 years ago and find within your timeline some of the significant changes in your life that got you here where you are today.
20 years ago. So I just turned 62. So that would put me at 42. 42, I think we had, oh yeah, okay, 42. Uh, I was the second African American stenographer in the state of South Carolina back then. And you would think, by then we'd have more of us up in there. As a stenographer, I had several judges that I worked with, but the one who I loved the most, his name, and he just recently passed, his name was Ralph King Anderson III. And he actually he was known for being a hard person to work with. He could work extremely long hours. He was very intense. He was very academic. His vocabulary was so extensive. I can't tell you how many times I'd see lawyers when he would rule for them. They'd stand there like, did I win? I'm not sure what he said. Those were some words. But I said that to say this. He was an incredibly hard judge, but I loved working for him, and he loved working with me. So much so, he said to me one day, he said, "Do you want to travel the circuit?" I said, "Not really." He said, "Would you prefer to stay here?" I said, "I would." He said, "Okay." So I called court administration. I said, "Well, Judge Anderson would prefer if I stayed with him." And the court administrator said, "Well, you can't do that." So I said, "Okay, you tell Judge Anderson I can't do that." End of story. Because that man,
Right.
and
Go ahead.
and he eventually, I think he ascended to the Court of Appeals, and then there was another judge that I really, really like who ascended to the Supreme Court of South Carolina, and they were so good to me. Ironically, with Judge Anderson, though, so my husband's family owned some land. Judge Anderson's family actually worked for my husband's family's land, and he said he became keenly aware that there's got to be another way to make a living. So that's how come he ended up going to school, because sharecropping it's hard work. So, again, he'd been on both sides. He'd been in the world where mainly people who looked like me, and then he became a judge, and then he, ascended on. But I said, I've been fortunate to have amazing people in my life who saw something in me, and they opened the doors, and I walked through.
I love that. I think it's also the way how people says it's if you just go through life without taking a reign of it, you're not the driver, you're just kind of going with the flow. And then you complain about why your flow is building up somewhere else. Because you're not present within your own life. And I think for you, you've been present all your life because you had a really good role model, right? From the get-go. And that's what I always tell my kids too, because I have two kids. I have a 21-year-old and an 18 this year, holy moly. And I always tell them when they were in school, and I said, I don't care if the principal calls me, you should be afraid of lying to me and your dad, because police would not stop us. Let me tell you something. You will be embarrassed in front of your entire school if you lie. I'm just going to tell you that. I won't take it. Right. And I also told them that if someone bullies you or hits you, you'd hit them twice as hard, and then have the principal call me. Oh, that happened.
We are connected. That is exactly what I said to my children. I'm like,
oh, really?
that.
Oh, I got in trouble.
Handle it and go to the office and call me. Exactly right.
Yeah, so a boy hit my youngest football, twice, and she's like, "Stop!" And the boy is just like laughing, and then Bella's like, "One more. I told you to stop," and he did. So my Bella, it was kind of chunky in 5th grade. She took that ball, hit him in the head, kicked his what, and said, "Do it again." And the boy cried, and then on top of that, she kicked him on the knee or the shin, somewhere. So he went down, got a scratch when he fell down, and Bella's like, "I told you to stop." And the teacher came. Principal called me and said, "Miss Leland, I just want to verify." Mind you, they go to Christian school. that you said what you said, because Bella said that if someone hits her, that's why it's hard. I didn't want to laugh and I didn't want to smile. And I said, yes, I did. I am not going to let my kids be victim for anything, for anyone.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
That's not
But
fair,
I tell
and
them,
that's
do not
what
start.
we feel.
Don't start, but finish it.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, she did. She get in trouble in fifth grade, but you know what? It wasn't meant. I was like, you want some ice cream? Let's go get some ice cream. That's how you handle it.
That's it.
And her dad would just start laughing. It's funny that you said your husband's systems engineer. So is mine. That is so funny. Yeah, he still works. He's a systems engineer. Worked for Feds for a bit. We went to Pentagon and lived in DC for a bit because he used to work there. But
Yep.
yeah, wow, that
Yep.
is so cool. Now here's my next question. Ready?
Mhm.
How did your military background prepare you for entrepreneurship and community advocacy today?
I don't know if it was the military. I think it was, again, my father, my mother, um some people are made to work for other people. That's just how they're built. Some people aren't. I'm not. And I thought about that. It's actually none of my siblings are. My brother was the director of communications for the Olympics for a number of years. He worked for NBC, and then when he left, he, created his own communications company. My sister went to school and became a speech pathologist, and then she opened up her own practice. I went into the military and then became a court stenographer, which then allowed me to open my own business. I think I've been hustling as an entrepreneur since I was 16. When I was in high school, in the South, they said that they wanted me to be, I don't know, a nurse or something, and I think my husband to be a janitor somewhere else or do something, where we didn't use our minds. And I only needed one credit to graduate. I could have graduated at 16, but they didn't tell me that because, I was supposed to go be the nurse or whatever. And so when I left, when I was in high school, I made enough money driving a bus because South Carolina was one of the last states to have student bus drivers. I made enough money driving a bus because I needed the one credit. They made you take four. So I don't know, I took some little Bano classes, and I made enough money to pay the mortgage on my parents' house when I was in high school. So I've always been an entrepreneur. It feels like breathing to me. When we moved here and our children were small, and I had to work for, the little business here in town. And I remember it was so funny. Someone came to me and they said, the copier's broke. And the first, I almost said, well, go fix it. And then I thought, oh, wait, I signed that piece of paper to say that I would now go fix the copier and put the paper in there because that's my job now. I'm just not built that way. I think I'm a better contribution to the world when I'm being an entrepreneur because I don't like to be reined in. I don't like to, I believe in surrounding yourself with people who know more than you do. That way we all rise. And sometimes when you're in the work environment, if people see someone who they perceive as being smarter or quicker or whatever, they're intimidated by that. And I don't get that as a mentality. I don't get it so much so that I don't even have time to explain that to you. That's something you got to work through on your own, because I'm moving on, and everyone doesn't appreciate that. They, especially if they're in that
I like that.
taking orders.
No, I like that. But you're right. I learned quickly that when people ask you, your work, you think that you're so close to somebody, but there would be the one that's literally taking all the receipts and then at the end flipping that script on you. I have had that experience when they said, "Hey, CJ, what do you do?" And I tell them what I do, and then the next thing you know, you're out of projects because, oh, you're so busy. You shared that you do this, this, and this, and you're so busy. I'm like, did I ever tell you I said no? Because I know my boundaries. Like if I overcommit myself, I know myself, right? I will get burnt out, but I will never let it down. But no one ever told you that I was too busy to help with the project. Oh, you mentioned in our share that I'm like, I'm never gonna share. I'm not gonna do it. It's because people like that who assumes that because you know you can do 5 things and they can do one thing, all of a sudden you're too busy because they're assuming you can't. I hate that. And so I don't share anymore. So thank you for that. Share. I can relate to that very much, and I hate that. Now I do a half a minute. So this is my next question, and I want you to think about it. Why I run my halftime here. The world, so many feel burnt out or disconnected. What's one piece of advice you give to someone trying to rebuild their sense of purpose and power? Because I think, and I know, I shouldn't say I think, I know that you have such good advice for this with everything that you have gone through, right? So think about that for a minute. Let me run my 50 inspirational, and then we will go back. And here, guys, this is my 50 inspirational connections.
Yeah. It's not just a scroll. It's a movement. Let's get it. Tap in, level up, it's the real lane. Dr. Lane dropping 500 games. 50 games, the mission and the voice. Ain't just talk, we the power, we the choice. The spotlight rebels, dreamers, queens. Bosses, builders, legacy machines. You want truth, you want real. It's the type of vibe that you feel and heal.
From the mic to the ground, 50 connections, yeah, that's the proof. Wanna grow, wanna shine, wanna be seen. This the dopest network on the scene.
So don't just lurk, engage, ignite. Click that follow, change it like the same height. It's a tribe on a mission, level up style.
Legacy edition. Legacy edition.
I created that song, Beverly.
I'm just getting chills just through this whole thing. So this, I don't know about you, but this is totally working for me. It's energetically reviving. Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, legacy edition, because we are impact and legacy. All right, now in a world where so many feel burnout and disconnected, what's the one piece of advice that you'd give someone trying to rebuild their sense, purpose, and power? Because not a lot of people are fortunate enough to have parents who are guiding them. Heck, I didn't even have parents. What? Yeah.
I know this may sound simple, but it's something that I live by. I think I've heard it stated another way. It says, "To thine own self be true," because at the end of the day, you came in this world alone. You're going to leave alone, and you have to know what works for you. And sometimes that means standing alone. If you're fortunate to have someone walk with you, that's great. But if they don't walk with you, I heard someone say it this way, and I think this is beautiful. They said, whenever you have to bend, fold, staple, and mutilate yourself in order to fit in with everybody else, that's never going to be a good fit on you. And what ends up happening is you dim your light, and you never know who you are. So, when I see those people, I don't hang out with those people too much, because I've been fortunate. The girlfriends I have now are the same girlfriends I met when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and my 11th grade, and we are still all there for each other. And I will tell you that if I'm in a spot where I'm feeling like I may be off, I can call them up and they will say, "Girl, you have lost your mind. You need to step back and regroup." Or they'll go, "You know what? You're right on target." But I trust them. But we built that relationship over the years. We've been, I've got one girlfriend, we were laughing about being on the back of the cement truck doing, I don't know, Gladys Knights and the Pips with our little songs, and, because that's who we are. We've created that foundation. So 2 things. 1, be true to yourself, and then surround yourself with people who really know you, and they're not afraid to tell you you're on or you're off. And if you can't handle that, then there's maybe some more growth for you to do. But that's what I would advise.
Yeah, Susanna, I love that. To self be true. Shakespeare's Hamlet. We need to be that way. Drop the mask and be our authentic self at all times. And she does. So Santa and Danielle actually are my core, along with Mike. Those are my core group that I trust their judgment. And I'm slowly expanding on the people I've seen because it takes a while, right? So sometimes we see people from surface level, I think I shouldn't say everyone, but most of the people that I've seen are really good-hearted people, but some are just not for me at this moment of my life, right? And
Mhm.
it's okay to, and I think somebody sometimes they get offended and then they create their own narrative.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you can create your own narrative. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really bother me. It's because you're still healing with your own trauma, and it's okay. But don't cross my boundaries. That's all. Like, just don't cross my boundaries, and we'll
Mhm.
be good. So speaking of that, I wanted to share this also, guys. This is what I was talking to you about, um, Beverly, about my girlfriend, daughter, Elise, right? And she is 6 years old, and we are doing I'm gonna give you guys an update today or tomorrow. See where I can go from there. We are giving a GoFundMe for her mom because there's just so many bills, and she is out of the hospital, and there's more issues in terms of health wise. And she just graduated June 2nd, and she ended up in the emergency room at June 8th, like not even a week, guys, right? So I need your help to share as many people as you can. We are a community. And yes, I am asking for help. I usually don't ask for help. I'm uncomfortable asking for help. I'm telling you guys. But this time I'm pretty desperate because it's for her, 6 years old. Like, hello? I have two daughters, so my heart is broken when it comes to children, especially. So, thank you so much for your time and your help and share. Now, Beverly, I am so thankful for your time with me today, right? And this is so exciting for me. I've been to New Zealand. I've been to Auckland. I have a family in Auckland.
Did you
And
do the jump? Did you do the jump? Did you do the jump?
no, but I did the like malling. I like malls, but they didn't have mini mall. They have
Falling.
Never malling.
Okay, so there's a jump in Auckland. It is the tallest building, and you jump. I jumped twice, and I wanted to jump 3 times, and then my husband was like, "That's it. I'm getting a migraine. You got to stop." I jumped forwards, and it was beautiful. And then I jumped backwards, and then I was going to jump to the side, and he was like, "That's it. I've got a migraine. We're done."
I
But that's
want
not
to do
the
that.
next time you go do that.
Oh, yeah, I gotta visit my aunt, and I have a cousin there. Okay, my aunt had two kids, and my cousin died at 16 from
Mm.
driving, and that's why I have issues with my kids, driving because her best friend was driving. She was um changing CD, and then there's a drunk driver oncoming. Brand new BMW, it wasn't a rinky-dink car. The thing is, her best friend walked away with just a scratch, and my cousin died. And my aunt ended up in a divorce because of that. Because what happened was she told her daughter not to go that day. She had a weird feeling, and the dad's like, "She's fine. They're in a brand new car. She's been driving for a year, like the best friend." And my aunt's like, okay, well, she blamed her husband for letting her go that day because she said no. So this is where parenting also is important, right? Like both parents have to agree when their kids are going. And so usually when my daughter, she always asks me, I'm the weak one. Mom, I want to go somewhere. Ask your dad. That's always my thing because I don't ever want to be in that position where I said yes and he said no and something happened to our kid. Like I won't do that. I just can't.
So I'm going to make a quick correction on what's there. So I didn't live in Costa Rica or New Zealand. I visited both of those. I lived in Australia, uh,
Ooh, where in Australia?
in Alice.
Ooh, did you have fun?
I did, and I also climbed. Mount Uluru. Yeah, I'm a bit of a daredevil.
If you ever go in the Philippines, go to the longest zip line in Asia. And I can tell you that they use Italian equipment, not made in China. Thank goodness. I asked that too. I was like, see, if I'm in the middle of that thing, because I looked down and, coconut trees are very tall, right? on the top, coconut trees look like ants. So if I fall, you ain't gonna find me. I'm just
Ooh,
gonna
okay,
poof.
okay. Well, that's on my list. And by the
Yes,
way,
I loved
I
it.
love
I
I
loved
love
it.
Ponset and I love lumpia.
I can cook both of those. Yes. Lumpia is hard work, okay? You have to like roll that sucker
I
tight.
know, I
You know,
know. It's worth
oh
it.
my God.
It's worth it.
It is worth it. It is. I love that's the only egg roll that my husband and my kid really love because it's more protein and less carbs. Because if
Mhm,
you notice, the egg roll is thin, paper
mhm,
thin, like
mhm.
rice paper, and the rest of the egg rolls, like Chinese egg rolls, are so thick, like you could barely see the meat. But then too much carbs. I can't do too much carbs. But yeah, okay. How has those global experiences shaped your worldview and purpose?
I realize the world is much smaller. So when I run into people who have been gone out of their county, because Americans are notorious for not traveling. We don't travel as much as we should. You go abroad, they will tell you in a New York minute that we don't travel. And that's really sad because the world is the same everywhere. You got like when we lived in Australia, I remember my kids saying, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave my friends. And then we get there and we, start living our life. And they were like, well, you know what? He reminds me of so and so. And then they remind me of so and so. I said, that's what I kept trying to tell you. Same people everywhere, just they live in different countries. They have different cultures, they learn different things. But and I'm grateful that they were able to learn that lesson because when they start to tell their story to say that they lived abroad and they've traveled, um, it just gives you a better perspective on life. When you just have those blinders on and all you can see is the one thing, that's what leads you into that's the way we've always done it. And if you want me to shoot you in the head, that there would be the modus right there. Because just because that's the way you've always done it, that doesn't mean that you have to still continue to do it that way. It's um, like the healing for wounds thing that I do. When I say that that's Star Trek technology and it's starting to change the world in the face of medicine and how we heal and how we improve qualities of life, if we had not had that vision to look ahead and understand how technology can be an asset, then you'd still be doing the same old thing, getting the same results. And what is that? The definition of insanity.
Yeah, I think even Warren Buffett was saying that too at one point. I met him once when I used to work for Geico. And innovate, but make sure that when you innovate, you ensure to test slowly, one project at a time, right? Because I also saw like I think it was Pepsi or something where they had like 20 people taste test their one of their products, and then like I think half of it said yeah it's good, and then all of a sudden they made it worldwide and it flopped, and I'm like, do you guys not get 20 people really in this
Part
tiny little town?
of the world.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Why did you do that? So they learned their mistakes in the billions, right? Like that's a lot of production to say no, no one wants that drink. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love that you said that. Also, this is men's mental awareness, and one of my students, because I teach veteran students, 95% of my students are veterans in college right now.
Mm.
Um, business because they like to learn business systems and entrepreneurial. So that's where I teach. I teach business law, ethics. I also teach business plan, critical thinking, accounting, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, you name it. I teach pretty much everything. And it's also PTSD Awareness Month. So I wanted to ask you this because I think that you have a really good role model from your dad, right? And what you have seen so far, maybe even brothers or cousins or whatnot. Um, when do you think? What do you think is the biggest silent struggle that men face when it comes to their health? And what would it take for us to normalize healing instead of hiding?
That is a great question. Um, my husband suffers with PTSD, so I live with that. I haven't been formally diagnosed only because I fight with the VA and their perception. I think they said that I was not atypical in that I didn't give in to the self-destruction. I went the other way and just became an overachiever to deal with what happened with me. I think for men, unfortunately, we are dealing with the stigma of what it means to be a man. You know, men aren't supposed to share their feelings. They aren't supposed to embrace the feminine. And that's a problem because anything that's off kilter is going to eventually fall. And so when you have a man who is suffering mentally, which then leads to physical ailments, because everything on the inside has to come out, we end up in the state that we're in now, specifically for veterans who have served this country and who have sworn to protect this country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. When we have been clear about our decision about what we're willing to do, be, and have for this country, and then that's dismissed or it's made to be less than, or maybe not, dismissed is a better word, that affects the psyche because, again, there's inner and there's outer. So when you are showing up, being present, being accountable, and then someone from the outside says, hey, whatever it is you do doesn't matter, that's an incongruence. It's called a cognitive dissonance. And so that's when you have to, I'm going to flip back to thine own self be true. Because without that, then you're going to get caught up in that tailspin. Again, surround yourself with people that you truly trust. Like my husband, you know, we've known each other since we were 15 and 17, respectively. So I know him like I know myself. He knows me better than I know myself. I am keenly aware when he's off. You know, he's had those moments when he's come home and he's shaking and he can't function and he's crying, because when you have PTSD, you either do fight or flight, and neither of those are good because they're in the extremes. So you need to find that space in the middle. And when they're in that space, when they can't think, when they can't rationalize because it's overwhelming, they need to have someone that stabilizes them. And for my husband, it's me, and for me, it's him.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's good. I think finding the right person to confide into without judgment, it's always that judgment because when you don't trust people, that's when things go bad. So, because it gets to be in that tailspin that you're talking about. Now, this is my last, well, second to the last question, usually. If this is your last day today on this earth, what would be your parting message to your current and future families in terms of living life, legacy, and impact?
You know, it's interesting that you asked that question because my kids say to me, have you seen the play Hamilton? Remember how he just like worked furiously and he was always busy doing something. He was always outpacing
Yep.
something. That is, I am very clear what my children will say about me. You know, when they look at my life and the things I've done and the places I've been and the people I've met, they tell me now, they don't make them like you anymore, Mom. Because whenever I show up, it is always my intent to leave everyone in a better space than they were before I showed up. You know, I want you to be better because I showed up. And sometimes that can be taxing because it's not that I intend to go in and blow up whatever the space is. It's just, I am clear that in my family's bloodlines, whatever this is I have, it's not just me. I saw it in my mother. I saw it in my grandmother. And I see it in my siblings. I see it in my kids. I see it in my granddaughter. So whatever this is, I know that it's going to continue to go on. For me, now looking at my grandbabies, it is to it is to nurture that. I'm going to tell you a really funny story. So my grandbaby is 3 going on 4. And I said to her the other day, I said, hey, baby, I saw you and you didn't look too keen with that Easter bunny. And so she said, well, I saw the Easter bunny, Gigi. And I said, not today, Easter bunny. And I fell out. So I said to her, I said, where did you get that? And she said, from you, Gigi. So I know that I am imparting into her something she's gonna stand up and she's gonna be just fine. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that. But not today, Easter bunny. That's what she said.
Wow, that is so funny. I had a patch in here. The hardest job I have ever done is construction account management. I don't know anything about construction, guys. I don't even know how to dress in construction sites. I had to learn. And you bet your bottom's dollar I was selling. Okay. Even though I didn't know anything about that, I learned the lingo enough. But I also know, because I've been in sales for a long time, that I'm not talking to anybody else but the CEO. Because if the CEO said no, then there's no point of going through back and forth with all the rest of the people. Sorry, I just go for the CEO. But I always have strategy coming in, right? And geez, the amount of whistle and look and because you're there. And my boss, actually my manager at that time, said, CJ, no jewelry, because some of the people that you will drive came from prison. Like, you just no jewelry, jeans and steel toe boots. I'm like, so you want me to look ugly? That's what you're saying? How am I gonna sell ugly? And my manager's like, not ugly, but like construction appropriate. So I asked for a pink hat because I like pink. And they're like, no, CJ, blend in, not stand out. I'm like, I don't care. So I had a pink hat. My steel boots was cute, okay, as cute as you can possibly get, but it was steel toe, because if anything falls on your toe, it could cut it or whatnot during the construction, right? And you have to have a hard hat, and then you have to have a bright vest. And they give me this extra large because that's the only thing they have. I'm like, ew, no, if I work for this company, you guys are gonna buy me my size. Like, that's literally me. And I went to a site where the engineer actually has his name, and his thing is special because it's not like orange bright, it's yellow bright, and like this yellow, right, highlighter. And it has a pocket for pen and a pocket for phone and a notebook. And I'm like, I want that. And my manager's like, you can't have that, that's only for engineers. I'm like, no, I want that. And the engineer's like, CJ, it's okay, I'll give you one. I give you one of mine, have extra. And I'm like, see, I want that, I got it. And it's hilarious because I put a thing says, not today, Satan. That's literally like that. Every time I go to office, you're like, not today, Satan. I'm like, yeah, not today, Satan. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Oh, I love that. So okay, this is my last questions. I can't believe we're already ending, but what's next for you in terms of big visions and movements and projects? What should we watch for?
Well, you're right. It is my intent to take over the world as far as chronic wounds are concerned. I'm going to put a little plug in for my little Healing for Wounds website. I refer to it as Star Trek technology. Everything that I do falls under the umbrella of insurance in one way, shape, or form. I am on a mission to give people their life back. People who have chronic wounds don't get out because, the seepage, the smell, the people staring at them, because chronic wounds can be anywhere from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, and it's just uncomfortable. There is new technology available now that is biotechnology, that is a regenerative medicine using amniotic membranes, placental cells. We do bone grafts as well, exosomes, and you and I have talked about that previously. But we're able to close the wounds down normally within 6 weeks or less, depending on the size of the wound. My Pied Piper effect is to connect doctors with patients. This is a program that's covered by Medicare, so there's no out-of-pocket expense to the patient, the patient gets her life back. Everybody wins. So that is where I am now. It is to meet as many doctors, and that's where I was last week, actually, in South Carolina and North Carolina, meeting with doctors, talking with nurse practitioners, to make that connection. And of course, here in New Mexico, I've already built my team in New Mexico, but now I'm looking at building the team in those 2 other states. So it's to improve the quality of life for people and have them get back after it, because life's short. You got to get out there and get all you can.
Do we have a website for that we can share?
Yes, it is Healing for Wounds. There you go, healingforwounds.com. I just put it in. And I feel to be in a position to do this. I can't wait to tell them more stories about how lives changed, and they're just oh, that's what I want. I want actually get out there and not be hit by a physical ailment. There it is.
Is this the right
There
one?
it is.
Okay. Okay. Awesome, guys. This is Healing for Wounds, the number 4, wounds.com. Awesome. I love it. Wow.
Yeah, so that's what's on the phone for now, and very soon I have a wound care person who used to be on a national wound care board on my team. I have another one who is working with the hospitals in the area. I have an amazing web person who is doing all of the work for me. That woman, she shows me things. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but it looks impressive. So she's doing all the background work. She's making all the connections. So it's, like I said, it's all starting to come together.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So anybody watching there, if you guys have family members that needs all of these information, please reach out to Beverly. I appreciate you, Beverly. Thank you so much for your time today and for spending it with Level Up. And we will see you soon back again for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Leland. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, your voice and something, I'm just all chilled up. So you keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. See ya.
I started in the silence, behind closed doors. Dreams too loud to keep tucked in the floorboards. Late nights, broke days, no applause in sight. Just coffee, hustling that fire to fight. They said, play small, but I'm built to expand. No silver spoon, just grit in my hand. I will every note like armor and steel. Visibility's a battle, but I'm real and I heal. From invisible threads to the front of the stage, I'm rewriting the script, turning scars into page. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. Yeah, what they couldn't believe. See the back end, just a headline glow. But success is built slow, where the struggle don't show. Algorithms change, but your mission's divine. You're the brand, you're the vision, you're the power behind. You gave free just to prove you have value inside. Now it's invoices paid and your name amplified. You're not just in business, you're changing the game. And your visibility, that's more than a name. No more shrinking, this is expansion. No more asking, this is commanding. You've been the spark, now you're the flame. Entrepreneur by fire, fueled by name. Level up, rise above the fear. Let them hear your voice, make your purpose clear. Every step, every stumble, every tear in the rough. You were made for this moment, you are enough. Level up, break through the doubt. Turn the whispers of your past into a victory shout. You ain't just chasing clout, you're building a legacy. Now the world's gonna see what they couldn't believe. Yeah,
nights, the lost friends, the risks you took, to the brand you built and the space you shook. Here's your crown, your moment, your spotlight beam. You didn't just chase the dream, you became the dream.